Hey, how's it going, retro video game fans? So, in 2016, I made a video called My Streaming Setup, and I thought I would make a follow-up video to show you what I'm using today. And I don't want people to, kind of get inspiration from my old setup because, well, mostly I didn't use an upscaler. Today I'm using the OSSC, which is a very commonly used upscaler today, and I got rid of the sync strike. So I used to capture RGB from the game, and then with the sync strike it would then go into a VGA signal into the capture card. But today it goes from RGB, and with the OSSC it's actually an HDMI signal instead. So yeah, please excuse the way I'm doing this. I can't really flip my camera as I'm recording, so it's gonna be a little bit scuffed, but that's just the way it is. So let me show you some comparisons here. This is an example from my stream from 2019, and it kind of looks like it's emulated with a filter on or something, but you can see it looks quite smudged. And then this is an example from 2021. This one looks even worse. I think it might be because I was running at an even bigger resolution on my stream back then. And then we have an example from one of my more recent streams. Here you can really see the crispness of the pixels. And I have the game running right now. You can see here, it looks really, really good, I think. So let's go over the entire setup, shall we? I'm still using the Bang Olufsen 4000 CRT TV. Really loving this thing. And then we have I only have the PS2 plugged in right now. And I'm using this gscartsw switch. This is a really fantastic thing. You can see I can fit so many consoles here. I have the PS2 here, and then we have these two cables going to the TV and then to the capture card through the OSSC. The OSSC, or the open source scan converter, this is something else by the way, is over here. We have the RGB signal here going into HDMI. The display is it's facing the wall right now, but that's fine, we don't need to see that. The reason you want to have an upscaler is because, well, when you're streaming, you might want to have a pretty good resolution so that everything looks good, camera, if you want to have an overlay or whatever else you want to place on your stream. But the game from retro game consoles are going to have really low resolution, kind of like in this sort of window. And so when you just drag it out like I did before or a few years ago, it looks pretty bad. So that's why you need that. And then we have with the HDMI cable here coming from the OSSC, it's going into the StarTech 3.0, still using the same capture card. Whoops, this is a really good thing. I don't really need to say too much about that. Since I'm using HDMI and not VGA anymore, I'm not running into any firmware problems. There used to be a thing where you needed old firmware to display the image properly. And yeah, that's about it. This is the room I'm streaming in. Looks a little bit like so. I like to have this space on the table, but as my room is right now, I lift up the TV when I'm streaming so that I have the computer nearby and all that. And why not show this side as well? There's not too much to see, but I figured why not. And then I'm using, so I might as well show some other stuff I'm using, even though I didn't do that in my 2016 video. This is the camera I'm using, a C920. I've been using this ever since I started streaming. It's a really good cam. And if you're streaming and you only have like your camera down in the very corner, even if you were to upgrade to like a system camera or something really insane, you wouldn't really notice much difference. I guess you would have to be like a just chatting streamer then. and have the camera almost full screen. Sorry about the noise. And then I'm also using a Blue Snowball, used ever since I started streaming. I'm using a floor stand right now. It's pretty good. But last time I had trouble of breathing into the microphone, so I need a new pop filter. But yeah, that's that. Then the thing over here close to the OSCC is actually an input viewer. So when I hit buttons, you can see me hitting buttons. I used to have a hand cam, but I decided to ditch that idea, and now I use this instead. I haven't even streamed with this thing yet, so that's gonna be exciting. But if you're interested, this thing is called an Arduino UNO R3, and this is coming from a PS1 or PS2 extension cord. It's chopped up and then soldered together with these cables, and then this other cable goes back into the console. I want to shout-outs to Jaffam for helping me with this, and then just, you know, USB into the computer to capture the inputs. Really awesome thing. Finally, I thought I would mention that, as you can see here, I'm using a green screen. And I used to actually have a physical green screen, but as my room is right now, I don't really have any place to put it. So if you have an RTX graphics card, you can actually get like a simulated green screen where it just removes the background, and it works really well. So that's what I'm using now. And yeah, that's gonna be about it. As for the links, you can find everything in the video description, and other than that, don't be afraid to ask questions. So I believe that's gonna be it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you around.